The hearing will come to order. Welcome to our witnesses today, and thank you for your service to this country. We look forward to hearing your testimony. As everyone here understands, the United States faces a very different threat environment than ever before. Our adversaries are developing non-ballistic threats, including hypersonic and long-range cruise missiles, designed to hold our homeland at risk. Our adversaries have also spent decades building multi-layered defensive systems, often referred to in the past as anti-access, area denial capabilities. While the department did begin programs to modernize our ability to defend against limited ICBM attacks from a rogue actor, the United States has failed to make a similar investment to defend against a broader range of attacks. We now have a real opportunity to build a homeland defense architecture capable of meeting the threats that we currently face. General Gutlein, you have been granted extraordinary authorities as the Direct Reporting Program Manager for Golden Dome. While I appreciate our conversations on Golden Dome in classified settings, I look forward to you sharing more with the American public this afternoon on why we need to improve our missile defense posture and how you plan to do so in a cost-effective manner. Lieutenant General Collins, I look forward to hearing what progress has been made on enduring Missile Defense Agency programs, including the Next Generation Interceptor and Glide Phase Interceptor, as well as how MDA is supporting Golden Dome. Assistant Secretary Berkowitz, your deep expertise in missile defense and deterrence policy is an invaluable resource for this department, and I appreciate your frankness and insight into the risks and the opportunities before us. General Lozano, the Army's contributions towards regional and forward-deployed missile defense systems cannot be overstated. I look forward to hearing more about these systems and an update on the defense of Guam. With that, I would recognize Senator King for any opening remarks.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to submit my opening remarks for the record, some very detailed points that I think will come up in the hearing, and we can proceed directly to our witnesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator King. Again, welcome to our panel today. Secretary Berkowitz, would you begin with your opening comments, please?
Chairman Fisher, Ranking Member King, and distinguished members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to testify on the Department of War's missile defense activities. It's an honor to appear with my colleagues General Gutlein, Lieutenant General Collins, and Lieutenant General Lozano. America faces intensifying strategic competition in the security environment. The pace and scale of the threat is unprecedented. Our rivals are expanding, diversifying, and increasing the sophistication of their arsenals of missiles and aerial weapons. They are integrating offensive strike and missile defense systems into joint operations to deny access and impose costs. By threatening America's safety, territorial integrity, and economic prosperity, rivals aim to undermine our political will, societal cohesion and morale, and ability to project power. President Trump is restoring American strength to meet these challenges and secure peace. He issued an executive order to field and operate the Golden Dome for America, a comprehensive next-generation defense against the most catastrophic threats facing the United States. The Golden Dome will protect our homeland, citizens, critical infrastructure, and second strike capability. The President's Golden Dome for America initiative is the cornerstone of our homeland defense posture. It's a necessary and pragmatic response to the growing threat posed by ballistic, hypersonic, and advanced cruise missiles, as well as other next-generation aerial weapons. The Golden Dome will complement our nuclear deterrent. Today, our capability to defend the nation is limited, and its effectiveness is eroding against increasingly advanced threats. The Golden Dome will rectify this by creating a layered defense in depth of the United States. It will defend against accidental, unauthorized, rogue, decapitation, and coercive attacks. In contrast to the current limited defense system, consisting of a single layer of ground-based mid-course defense interceptors, multiple terrestrial and space-based defensive layers will complicate adversary attack planning and provide more engagement opportunities to destroy incoming threats. Combined with the prospect of retaliation, the Golden Dome will strengthen deterrence by denying adversaries the ability to achieve their objectives through coercion or aggression. Moreover, it will save lives and limit damage should deterrence break down. The cost of the Golden Dome, while significant, is a necessary investment to protect assets of truly incalculable value, the lives of our citizens and the territorial integrity of our nation. The cost of failing to defend our homeland would be infinitely greater. China is our pacing competitor. We will deter China from a position of strength with a denial defense along the first island chain. Our regional missile defense posture, centered on Aegis destroyers as well as terminal high-altitude area defense and Patriot batteries, provides a forward-deployed, layered, integrated air and missile defense network. As Operation Epic Fury underscores, regional missile defense is essential to protect and defend our forces, allies, and partners. Our global alliances will remain a strategic advantage if our allies and partners invest properly in defense. The Department will continue to pursue opportunities for missile defense and defeat cooperation to increase burden sharing, capacity, and interoperability. We're also supercharging the U.S. defense industrial base by cutting bureaucratic red tape, empowering program leaders to take calculated risks, and leveraging private sector innovation. We must accelerate the delivery of critical missile defense and defeat capabilities at scale. In closing, with the continued support of Congress, the War Department will invest in the missile defense and defeat programs necessary to achieve peace through strength. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. General Gutlein, welcome. You are recognized for your opening comments.
Chairwoman Fisher, Ranking Member King, and distinguished members of the subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to report on the progress of Golden Dome for America. We are here today because the global strategic landscape has changed. For the first time in a generation, our nation's margin of safety has vanished. While we have been focused on the away game, our adversaries have been working around the clock to challenge us at home, and today the homeland is exposed and relatively undefended. A new generation of advanced air and missile threats, unprecedented in their speed, numbers, and lethality, now holds the American homeland at risk. Our adversaries are not just expressing the intent, they are demonstrating the capability to threaten our families and our way of life. This threat is not theoretical. We see it unfolding in front of our own eyes every day on our televisions. It is real, it is growing, and we must meet it with American resolve. Golden Dome for America is the administration's bold and decisive answer to this danger. It is the cornerstone of our strategy to rapidly improve the defensive equation of the homeland and to ensure peace through strength. This is not another weapon system. It is a layered, integrated shield designed to defend the homeland against the full spectrum of advanced threats. This vision is ambitious, but it is achievable. The foundational technology exists today, and we are moving with the utmost urgency to bring it to bear. Our strategy is built on speed, affordability, and partnerships. My priority is establishing a unified command and control network to link our existing battle-proven systems and field credible defenses now. With the resources authorized by this committee, we are also investing in next-generation technology to dramatically increase our defensive capacity and fundamentally drive down the cost per intercept for generations to come. Make no mistake, the greatest challenge here is not technical, it is organizational. Success requires forging unity of effort across the federal government, and as the Golden Dome Director, I have been granted unprecedented authorities to do just that. The leaders on this panel before you today, along with Northcom, represent this new way of doing business. We are working as one team. Northcom is my #1 customer. The Missile Defense Agency is integrating the architecture and delivering cutting-edge capabilities. The Army is building the operational framework, and policy is deterring our adversaries. In addition, we are transforming our relationship with the industrial base, using innovative partnerships and prize-based competitions to unleash the full power of American innovation. Golden Dome is a generational investment in the security of our nation. It is a promise to the American people and a clear message to our adversaries that their reckless and aggressive actions will not go unanswered. With your continued support and resourcing, we will deliver a defense that protects every American. We owe nothing less to our children and our children's children. Thank you, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, General Gutlein. General Collins, welcome. You are recognized for your comments.
Thank you, ma'am. Good afternoon, Chair Fisher, Ranking Member King, and distinguished members of the subcommittee. Thank you for your continued unwavering support of the Missile Defense Mission. Since its initial founding as the Strategic Defense Initiative Office in 1983, and through its current establishment as the Missile Defense Agency in 2002, the men and women of this missile defense enterprise have made the impossible possible, hitting a bullet with a bullet. And we have integrated disparate capabilities from services, agencies, and nations into an effective weapon system proven in combat in recent years, months, and days. We have developed, globally delivered, and evolved the missile defense system since it went operational in 2004 to address evolving threats, leverage new technology, and align with the nation's national policy. MDA has leveraged its extensive experience in integrating, testing, and delivering technologically advanced missile defense systems to deliver on its promises and commitments to our nation, and provide the warfighter the battle-proven, lethal, and effective systems that have saved thousands of lives. This team has adapted to the changing character of war, but the mission is not done. Recent operations have only highlighted the increasing pace of change, and MDA is increasing our acquisition tempo to maintain relevancy. Today, MDA is pressing ahead to continue developing and delivering the disruptive, lethal, resilient, agile, and affordable capabilities required today and tomorrow for the defense of the U.S. homeland, our deployed forces, and our international partners. We continue our transformation into the fast and agile enterprise the nation needs, and we are renewing our focus on delivering cutting-edge capabilities across the air, land, sea, and space domains. With the ongoing transition and transfer of proven missile defense systems, MDA will invest more purposely in the development, experimentation, integration, testing, and delivery of breakthrough technologies and foundational missile defense capabilities. MDA will continue to develop and test system elements, components, and technologies for this new generation of capabilities, what we're calling Missile Defense System Next, and it will continue to operate as the system of systems integrator for the Homeland Defense Architecture developed and delivered by the Office of the Golden Dome for America. MDA is aligned with Golden Dome, with General Gutlein, to deliver the critical capabilities required to defend our homeland and our nation's interests. In closing, I'd like to honor those who have paid the ultimate price in the service to our country and thank those warfighters, civilians, contractor professionals, and their families of those operating the missile defense system around the world, around the clock, in harm's way today. They honor us with their selflessness and sacrifice. I greatly appreciate your steadfast support for MDA and your commitment to providing the resources necessary to execute the missile defense mission. Recent conflicts have proven and cemented the vital role missile defense plays in the strategic environment and on the battlefield. Thank you. I look forward to your questions.
Thank you, General Collins. General Lozano, you are recognized for your comments, sir.
Chairman Fisher, Ranking Member King, and members of this subcommittee, thank you for the opportunity to appear before you today to discuss the criticality of defending the island of Guam. On behalf of Army senior leadership, we thank you for your continued support of our soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, guardians, civilians, and their families. Guam is an undisputable part of the homeland, and I cannot overstate its strategic criticality as the home of American citizens. Defending Guam is unquestionable. It is a geostrategic location that makes it central to the deterrence efforts against our adversaries in the Indo-Pacific, serving as a critical hub for power projection, logistics, and regional operations. Our ongoing efforts center on defending against increasingly sophisticated and evolving threats. As the Joint Program Acquisition Executive, our organization is charged with synchronizing the development, testing, integration, fielding, and sustainment of the Guam Defense System components. These components span across 25 prototype efforts and programs of record in the Army, Air Force, Navy, and the Missile Defense Agency. The Joint Program Acquisition Executive also serves as the material developer for the Guam Defense System Battle Manager. This suite of products allows current service and agency-developed weapon systems and command and control to behave as a unified system. Guam currently hosts multiple systems that not only deliver critical defensive capabilities, but also provide soldiers with valuable training and hands-on experience. In the past year, the Army has fielded a lower-tier air missile defense sensor, known as LTAMS, and that battery is on the island. Additionally, a terminal high-altitude area defense battery, known as Task Force Talon, is fully integrated and actively operated by soldiers stationed there. An AN-TPY-6 radar panel provided by the Missile Defense Agency also serves as a key element of the Guam Defense System architecture, contributing to a comprehensive 360-degree coverage of the island. With initial operating capability taking place in fiscal year 27, the GDS architecture will continue to evolve to outpace the threat and could incorporate new technologies in the future, such as directed energy. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be here. I look forward to your questions about the Guam Defense System. Thank you.
Thank you, General. Assistant Secretary Berkowitz, I'd like to begin with you and General Gutlein. In this setting, what threats is GDA being designed to defend against? And perhaps more importantly, how well is the homeland defended against those threats today?
Thank you for the opportunity to underscore a critical rationale for the program. As I indicated in my opening statement, we are in a very complex and dangerous security environment where our rivals have dramatically expanded their missile and aerial arsenals. Those include ballistic missiles, hypersonic missiles, advanced cruise missiles, and other advanced aerial weapon systems. The threat they pose, whether nuclear armed or even conventional, are truly grave threats to our homeland, to the American population, to our critical infrastructures, and to our second strike capability. And that is the reason why the President took the initiative to order the Department to pursue the Golden Dome initiative. If you could remind me about your second part of your question, please.
Can we defend against those threats today?
Today we have a very limited ground-based single-layer homeland defense system that was specifically designed against a small-scale rogue attack from North Korea. And we have very limited capability against any other attack with ballistic missiles, and we have no defense against hypersonic weapons or cruise missiles today.
Thank you.
Say advanced cruise missiles.
General Gutlein, would you like to add anything to that?
Yes, Chairwoman. So Golden Dome is designed to go after the next generation aerial threats, which includes unmanned aerial systems against our homeland, cruise missiles, hypersonic and maneuvering hypersonic missiles, as well as ballistics from the air and ballistics from the sea. Today, as Secretary Berkowitz discussed, we were really focused on the rogue nation intercontinental ballistic missile threat to protect the homeland, and then we relied on our oceans to take the fight to the enemy. That distance has been quickly eroded by their technology. So Golden Dome is protecting for both conventional threats that we see unfolding on television every day, as well as nuclear-capable threats that could be brought against the homeland.
General Gutlein, in the President's fiscal year 27 budget request for Golden Dome, it included over $17 billion in the mandatory portion of the request. In this setting, can you tell us why it is critical for these funds to be provided to Golden Dome this cycle, and what happens if we wait to fund these programs until fiscal year 28 or even later?
Thank you, Chairman, for that question. Today, as we stated, the homeland is relatively undefended, and our number one objective is to change the homeland defense equation as fast as we possibly can, with the objective of delivering an operational capability to protect against those next generation aerial threats by the summer of 2028.
And are you ready in your plan to be able to put that $17 billion to good use, and then to be ready in FY28 for more funding to continue the build-out?
Absolutely, Chairman. Chairman, we have completely gotten the entire architecture approved. We know what the testing strategy is going to be to get us to the summer of '28, and we are postured to rapidly put those funds on contract efficiently and affordably to deliver an operational capability in the summer of '28.
Great. And what's the total projected cost of Golden Dome, and how will you ensure that the taxpayers' money is going to be spent responsibly? What's going to happen if portions of the planned architecture turn out to be not feasible from a cost perspective?
Chairman, that's a great question. Currently, the estimated cost of Golden Dome with the objective architecture out into the 2030s is $185 billion. That's the $175 billion that the President announced when he stood up Golden Dome, plus an additional $10 billion to accelerate space capabilities that were not originally part of our architecture. We have built the foundation of Golden Dome upon a scalable, modular architecture using affordable elements and taking advantage of competition and innovation from industry to deliver those elements. And we have scaled it so that it is multi-layered and integrated. If any component of the architecture cannot deliver on time, we have pathways to pivot away from that and embrace a different technology.
Thank you, General Gutlein. Senator King.
I have a couple of more general questions. Number one, I'm very concerned about the way this is being funded. In this year's budget, almost 25% of the budget is in this reconciliation slush fund that doesn't go through the normal appropriations process. It makes defense a partisan process, which I think is unfortunate. And the Senator and I were here in the days of OCO. This is son of OCO. And it's a fund that doesn't have the oversight of the United States Congress. Yes, it's authorized by Congress, but in a purely partisan way. And since I've been sitting on this committee, all of our work has been bipartisan until now. And I don't understand how this all happened. And you talk about mandatory spending. Mandatory spending is Social Security and Medicare. This isn't mandatory spending, and this is the American taxpayers' dollars, and it's our responsibility to shepherd those dollars and to approve and work through and have oversight over programs created. I thought, Mr. Harwich, is interesting. You said it was the President's initiative and continued support of Congress. So the President gets to say, we're going to do a $150, $200, $300 billion project, and Congress can sit meekly by and say, okay, we'll write the check for you. I don't understand. I'm very disturbed by the precedent that this has created, which is basically for this year, I understand, is about 25% of the defense budget is out of the consideration of the Appropriations Committee and the Armed Services Committee, and the chairman of our committee is reduced to saying, will you hopefully follow the precedents of Congress? We've heard it saying at multiple committee meetings, rather than the process that is supposed to take place, which is the President proposes, the Congress considers the risks and the costs, and enables and authorizes the program. I don't know if any of you want to respond to this, but I really am very concerned about the process that we're talking about here. None of you personally have any responsibility, but we're talking about taking 25% of the defense budget away from the Appropriations Committee and effectively away from the authorizing, the Armed Services Committee, and handing it to OMB and the White House. That's not the way our system is supposed to work. Mr. Harwich, can you give me some reason why it should be done this way and not through the ordinary appropriation process that's stood this country in good stead for a couple of hundred years?
Yes, Senator, I'd like to answer the question. My understanding is that the rationale for making the request as part of the reconciliation part of the budget is to accelerate the President's initiative and to provide flexibility.
That's another way of saying we don't want to mess with that messy congressional thing where they consider and have hearings, right? You just want to do it because the President wants it. Is that what you're saying? Accelerate.
No, sir. What I'm saying is that this is a one-time request for a plus-up to accelerate the President's
initiative. This is the second year
initiative.
of reconciliation. This isn't a one-time request. This is year number 2.
The other part of the rationale is that it provides flexibility given the rapidly changing dynamic of advanced technology, sir.
Well, I really don't like this process. I think it's a huge mistake, and I think Congress, it's one more abdication of Congress's responsibility and authority to take care of the taxpayers' money. General Lozano, what's the cost of defending Guam? What you outlined. What's the total cost of the defense that you outlined in your testimony?
Thank you, sir, for your question. Right now, we're tracking a total cost of about $3.5 billion, sir.
Okay, $3.5 billion. So the total cost of Golden Dome projected, I think, is $175 billion. Divide that. I'm not very good at doing math in my head, but that comes out. What is it? I'll do it right in front of you. Divided by 3.5. It would be about 50,000 times that. I mean, we're talking about a very significant cost. General Gutlein, can you do Golden Dome and protect like Guam is being protected with that $175 billion budget?
We can absolutely protect the homeland for $175 billion. Senator, the difference is Guam is a point defense, and it is needs to be self-contained and self-defended, whereas the protection of the homeland is an area defense. It's similar to
When you
trying
say
to...
area defense, what does that mean? That means the whole country. Montana isn't necessarily going to be protected, or Iowa.
You're protecting everything simultaneously. So if you were trying to protect a single jewel in a museum, you would have to put down an enormous amount of protection measures and defensive measures to protect that one jewel. If you step back and you're trying to protect the entire museum, you can now go back to a regional defense, protect the perimeter without having to dedicate all those point defenses. That's really the big difference between the way we're protecting Guam and the way we're going to protect the homeland.
So the budget that you have, you can protect the entire homeland, the villages of Louisiana or New Mexico or Montana or Maine, with the system that you're proposing. It's not designed to protect particular areas like the national capital or the major metropolitan areas?
Golden Dome is designed to protect the entire homeland from that array of threats, whether that be counter-UAS, cruise missiles, hypersonics, or even ballistics from the air, ballistics from sea, the entire homeland to include Alaska and Hawaii. And after Guam, the defense of Guam is delivered, Guam will be part of the defense of the homeland as well.
My time is up. We'll have a second round, I presume, Madam Chair.
Yes. Since we have no other members here, I think we'll continue, if you're good with that, Senator King. General Gutlein and General Collins, I have a question for you. Can you walk us through the role that Missile Defense Agency has in supporting Golden Dome? I don't know how you want to work this. Who wants to start?
If you're okay, Madam Chairwoman, I'll start. What we wanted to do is take advantage of the vast resources and the expertise of the Missile Defense Agency, which has been around for several decades. So under the authorities memo that the Secretary of War gave me, they aligned the Missile Defense Agency under the operational control of Golden Dome to do the systems-to-systems integration, to do the testing, and to do the transition from development into operations, to take advantage of the vast expertise and resources of the Missile Defense Agency. So under Golden Dome, General Collins is actually dual-hatted as my deputy for systems-to-systems engineering, as well as the director for the Missile Defense Agency, reporting to the director for research and engineering within the Department of War.
Thank you. General Collins. And in your answer, if you could talk a little bit about that integration that we did yesterday at our meeting in classified, and if you could bring that up a little bit.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Certainly, to build on General Gutlein's comments, Missile Defense Agency, and I mentioned in my opening comments, we have a long history of integrating disparate capabilities into effective, combat-proven missile defense systems. And the big ask that comes with Golden Dome is part of that as well. One additional thing, we are also an acquirer of a number of those capabilities as well. So we are acquiring capabilities to deliver, and then we're the integration lead for Golden Dome across all the services and agencies as we go forward. That integration role really covers down on a number of different parts of what integration means. There's program integration, making sure all of the acquisitions and deliveries and schedules are integrated together. Earlier today, ma'am, we talked about an integrated master schedule and how we, in an integrating office that we stood up are really the source of bringing in the capabilities and the schedules from all of the different partners, integrating those together so General Gutlein has insight into execution as well as all the interdependencies across the enterprise. Another integration is systems integration, more of the technical integration piece. My chief engineer at the Missile Defense Agency works shoulder to shoulder with General Gutlein's chief engineer, and they really make sure that technically the technical integration, the requirements, the interfaces, and the management of those interfaces are tied together seamlessly so that when the kit arrives, it all works together as a single weapon system. And then we're building below that as well. How do we integrate with operations? How do we integrate with the warfighter, interagency, and the like? And so all of those are part of that integrating office, and it's really part of the DNA of Missile Defense Agency in support of General Gutlein and Golden Dome for America.
I'd ask any witness this. We're looking at a generational investment here in Homeland Defense, and we want to make sure it's going to be what we need in order to meet the threats that we have. Are you working with industry so we have the best concepts and technology available for this? And when you work with industry partners, the second and third tier of suppliers, are you making sure that those supply lines can't be exploited in the future or even now?
Chairwoman, I'll take that. We are absolutely working in partnership with industry. I have personally met with well over 400 individual companies over the past 6 to 8 months to share with them my problems, but also to understand how they can solve our problems. We have stood up the C2 Consortium, the Command and Control Consortium, which includes both the traditional contractors as well as new entrants. There are 11 of them now working in partnership to deliver our next generation command and control capability. And then as of last week, we stood up what we call the Ecosystem Hub. The Ecosystem Hub is a one-stop shop for industry to come do business with Golden Dome. It's a single point of entry. It includes two-way communications to have transparent dialogue back and forth. It has strategic matchmaking. I can connect them to anybody in the federal government that may be in need of their services or their capabilities. It has a security and resilience element to it. We have brought on companies like Exeger and Govini to do supply chain resilience down to the multiple levels deep into the supply chain to look for alternatives to expand the supply chain and diversify it. And then we have also partnered them with a red team that goes in and helps them figure out how the threat's going to manifest itself, how to protect and defend themselves against that threat in a very transparent and partnering type manner. So we are embracing industry like we've never embraced industry in the past.
Thank you, General. Senator King.
What's the estimate of the number of missiles, UAVs, and other attack elements that China has? What do we know?
Senator, those numbers are classified, but they range depending on the type of threat from several hundred to several tens of thousands.
Well, I guess one of my questions about Golden Dome is that the cornerstone of our defense strategy for 80 years has been deterrence, mutually assured destruction. And we lived through a period of the second half of the 20th century where we faced an aggressive adversary with a lot of capability, strategic missiles, bombers, the whole range, without any Golden Dome. And what protected us wasn't sensors and missiles, but the idea of deterrence, that if we are struck, we will strike back in such a way as to impose unacceptable costs on the adversary. What has changed that makes this new initiative necessary from the experience that we had with the Soviet Union in the second half of the 20th century? They had bombers, they had missiles, they had strategic capability, they had ICBMs, and that's what we're talking about that China has. Why is it that we suddenly need a defense shield when we went without one for 70 years and it worked? Mr. Horowitz?
Thank you for the question, Senator.
And I am being a little argumentative, but I'm genuinely skeptical and want to understand why this is necessary now when it wasn't necessary when we faced a similar threat, perhaps more aggressive from the Soviet Union.
Well, thank you for the question. I think it is a very important question that Congress and the American public must understand to be able to support the program's rationale. What I'd say is that the strategic environment has changed dramatically since the end of the Cold War, and that we're no longer facing just a single monolithic threat. We're now facing multiple nuclear-armed rivals who have increasingly sophisticated missile and aerial capabilities, first off. The second thing I'd say—
Deterrence, I mean, while this is all going on, we're upgrading our own triad very substantially in terms of our ICBMs, in terms of new bombers and new nuclear submarines. So why won't deterrence work with China if it worked for 50 years or 80 years with the Russians?
I believe that strategic stability cannot be based on U.S. societal vulnerability to assured retaliation. Our competitors clearly do not accept that their societal vulnerability contributes to stability. Both Russia and China, and for that matter, other actors, have long pursued their own integrated air and missile defense systems. Their objections to U.S. missile defenses are not really about preserving strategic stability. They're aimed at weakening or constraining our own defense capabilities that would complicate their ability to use coercive threats or to attack the United States. In short, what they've been doing is insisting that U.S. vulnerability is stabilizing while simultaneously rejecting such vulnerability for themselves. As I said earlier, the Golden Dome is intended to be a complement to our nuclear deterrent because in conjunction with our nuclear triad, a homeland missile defense capability will provide us both a sword and a shield that'll have a synergistic benefit to strengthen deterrence, and should deterrence fail, it'll provide a means to protect the territorial integrity of the nation and the lives of our citizens.
Thank you. General, knowing that we're in an open setting, can you explain how Golden Dome would work? You, in answer to my question about Guam, you said, well, this isn't like Guam, we're not protecting particular places. By the way, I did my math. If we protected particular places in the U.S., we could do 50 if we had the same cost that we have in Guam. But you're saying the system doesn't work that way. Can you give us the concept of how it would work rather than having THAAD batteries around Kansas City, for example?
Absolutely, Ranking Member. If you look at the way we fight the away game— Absolutely, Ranking Member. If you look at the way we fight the away game, every one of our weapon systems has to be self-contained so that it can operate in a bare-bones environment, that it can operate independently, disconnected from the larger enterprise. That is not the way we need to defend the United States. Rather than having all those point defenses being able to operate independently, we can actually bring that capability back to the United States, integrate it, network it in new and innovative ways, layer it, bring to bear multi-domain capabilities, automate it, and then take advantage of the next generation level of processing artificial intelligence to make sense out of a greater array of data to get a better fire control solution. So it allows us to
But
fight
doesn't it, I mean,
cheaper.
the missiles coming from China, what's the defense? Is it a, I mean, you used a lot of words there, but I still don't, are we still talking about THAADs and Patriots, or are we talking about something entirely different?
Ranking Member, we're talking about something different.
Well, tell us what it is.
We are integrating and networking an array of effectors and an array of sensors using next-gen technology to get a greater magazine depth at a lower cost per intercept.
Okay, so when you talk magazine depth, we still are talking some kind of kinetic response, a bullet on a
We are
bullet.
talking about kinetics. We're talking about non-kinetics. We're talking about left of launch. We are talking about a whole host of capabilities in a layered effect to include directed energy and bring it to bear in new and innovative ways. We cannot go into the specifics of the effectors nor the magazine depth, but it is a different set of capabilities than what we currently have for the away game.
You said directed energy just because you knew that That was something I was going to respond to. Thank you. Yeah, he does. He does. Thank you very much. And again, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but my job is to represent the American people who I think deserve to understand how this thing would work, why we're doing it, whether it will in fact increase our security, and as I said at the beginning, how it's being funded. Thank you. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you, Senator King. If Senator Rosen's ready, she just joined us. Take your time, get a breath. You made good time then.
No, I didn't find it today. I was here for the weekend.
Okay, good to see you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for holding the hearing, and thank you for your service to our country. I really appreciate that. And, well, I want to talk a little bit about Golden Dome and the vulnerabilities that are there. Wait, I'm going to move this a little bit closer. There we go. So the proposed Golden Dome architecture represents a significant expansion of the U.S. missile defense network, integrating a wide variety of systems, numerous touch points that, of course, have to be protected. An example would be the command, control, battle management, and communications system that serves as a global network linking disparate sensors and shooters. So, General Gutlein, can you talk to me about how the department is addressing the wide variety of systems and numerous touch points that need to be protected in such a complex, interconnected system?
Thank you, Senator. The threats that you are talking about are very detrimental to our capabilities. When we first stood up Golden Dome, the first thing we did was architect in cyber resiliency from the start. Whereas traditionally our legacy systems had to be architected after the fact, we actually brought to bear cyber resiliency from the beginning. Then we stood up what we call the GDA Ecosystem Hub. It's actually a collaborative effort with industry to help them protect their IP and to protect their systems. So we have red teams that can go into industry and show them how the threat's going to manifest itself and how to protect and defend themselves against that threat in a very collaborative and partnering way going forward. From a command and control perspective, we brought to bear some of the leaders of industry that know how to do this. They are architecting in cyber resiliency from the very foundation of our command and control capability that brings to bear all the legacy C2 systems. GDA becomes basically the glue layer, if you will, federating all of these in a machine-to-machine interface with cyber resiliency as a foundation.
I think that's really critical because if we don't work with the public sector, that interconnectivity, every touch point's a point of vulnerability, to your point. And I want to talk about building on that. I appreciate what you're doing there, bringing in industry partners, building that cyber resiliency in from the bottom, or from the top, from every side. I guess we'll say it like that. But I want to ask you to consider that adversaries like China are employing already jamming capabilities, other technical means to confuse our missile defense systems. What measures are you taking then to ensure the integrity of the data layer and prevent that cyber interference from degrading our defensive response during a conflict?
We have built in a layered set of capabilities, multi-domain set of capabilities so that we do not have a single point of failure. And where we can, we have pulled our capabilities off of the grid to be able to operate independently at the tactical edge if necessary and if they are disconnected from the broader enterprise, if you will.
Thank you. I want to move on to talk a little bit about some lessons learned in missile defense, because our current real-world air and missile defense in the Middle East and Ukraine, well, we know they provided insights into how advanced air and missile defense systems perform under extreme stress. So these engagements have highlighted not only the effectiveness of layered defense architectures, but also the challenges. And I so appreciate your focus on resiliency, redundancy, and all of that. It's just critical. But the challenges are posed by high volume, mixed threat types. It includes cruise missiles, ballistic missiles, unmanned aerial systems, in addition to adversary tactics designed to exploit our system's limitations. So, General Collins, can you describe how the department is incorporating the lessons learned from the recent air and missile defense operations into its testing and evaluation process, and what steps are you are you taking going forward to validate or update our systems before they're deployed again?
Thank you, Senator Rosen. Very important question. We've certainly had a number of lessons learned over the last couple of years in Ukraine, as you mentioned, defense of Israel, as well as in just the last couple of months with.
I was going to say the Middle East too, but we'll stick to this.
And very much in OEF as well. And I think you've really tagged into the increasing complexity and a scale and a layering that we have not seen or planned for in the past. It's really it's increasing at it's an ever increasing rate, and the ability to do integrated battle management and integrated command and control is paramount to the success of these weapon systems going forward. We have during the operation, we meet with the warfighter every single day. We pull data from the systems every single day and analyze every data source from every weapon system. And we have been feeding that data back to the operators. They have been making tactics changes, technique, procedure changes within a day of seeing the adversary make a change as we go forward. In addition, we're distilling those down into upgrades and advancements of the weapon systems that we are responsible for, as well as working with the Army on their systems. And we've put hundreds of updates out to the field in the last 2 years to Aegis, to THAAD, to C2BMC, in response to the capabilities that we've seen. There are still capabilities that we need to continue to drive forward in. I think salvo size and the complexity of integrated salvo size is a very tough problem to scale the system into. As we move forward, one of our key technology thrusts in the future for Missile Defense Agency and in support of Golden Dome is to make sure that we can get the lethality, affordability, and the scalability into the future weapon systems that we bring to bear, so that we can really get the magazine depth at as affordable cost as possible to take out these threats. And then with the agility of open systems architectures and government ownership of the baselines and the technology baselines, that's going to help us be agile as well as we move forward. I think those are all fundamental things that we're bringing to bear to make sure we're as agile as possible against this nefarious threat.
Well, thank you. I have so many more questions. I'll submit them for the record, but yes. Oh, can I? Okay, I didn't know. Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Well, I wanted to kind of finish up on this because there's been a high demand and expenditure of our missile defense systems, right? So what's the state of our inventory and our industry's capacity to replenish those missile reserves? How are we going to do, how do you think we are faring on that? We're coming up on the NDAA. So many lessons learned about what's going on between Ukraine and the Middle East, about what else we need to do. But can you talk to me about that?
Yes, Senator. While the inventories are sensitive, and we could take those the actual numbers offline, scale is extremely important as we move forward. And for a couple of years now, I've been in the hearings talking about we needed increased focus on capacity, and we have been building a capacity debt where we have not maximized our production lines to meet the needs that the warfighter has identified. That changed last year. Deputy Secretary Feinberg has really focused the Munitions Acceleration Council on engaging industry, bringing the right sustained focus, the right sustained resources to move the needle and speed up capacity to what we need, not what fits in to the budget. And that's a very different way to look at this problem. It will take time to scale the supply chain, to grow it and receive the.
We have to identify
rounds.
it, and before we can begin to scale it,
and
where the challenges are.
Yes, ma'am. And in this president's budget that has been released, there is a significant increase to all of the critical munitions that we require, to include missile defense interceptor inventories as we move forward. And then I would just say, we got here by not having sustained focus and resources on munitions. We really need to sustain the resources and the focus on munitions in the years to come to replenish the stocks and get us the magazine depth that we need.
Thank you. Can I ask one more about staffing? Well, perfect. I have a few more, but I'll finish up with this one. I'm going to stay with you again, General Collins. our Missile Defense Agency staffing. So you're the director, you oversee a global organization, 9,000 military, civilian, and contract personnel, so a lot of people. So given the ambitious Golden Dome initiative, how has the administration's push to reduce the federal workforce, eliminate contracts, affected your agency's ability to really manage this massive expansion? How do you get to be nimble, bring in the people that you need to as you're learning more and more every day? The data set's coming down every day from real-time events in the AOR and theater is really changing what we know. So how are you managing this? Massive expansion for Golden Dome, dwindling missile stockpiles. Of course, you have to collaborate with industry and work with our allies. So tell me, or tell us what you need to do, what we should be thinking about as we manage this going forward, seeing what we're learning every single day.
Yes, ma'am. I will say Missile Defense Agency, a strength of Missile Defense Agency is the long depth of knowledge and experience we have. With an unmatched commitment to the mission from the entire workforce, whether they be the civilians, the military, or the contractor, and we continue to have that. We have reduced the size of the Missile Defense Agency last year, but we were specific in focusing on areas that made us faster and made us more agile as we move forward. And we're at a manning level today that continues to support us moving faster.
Do you have the authorities, though, to hire people in new areas or things that are emerging? As you're learning from what's happening real time, you may see you need to plus up on something in a place you didn't expect, right?
Yes, ma'am. As the director of the Missile Defense Agency, I do have the flexibility to pivot, identify the competencies that we require, and then the authorities to go hire the right people into the right professions, and whether that's engaging them through contract hirings or through the civilian workforce as well. I do have hiring authorities to be able to identify those. And we have started some Tiger teams within the agency to make sure we do a full competency survey of the agency to identify if there's any areas that we may be a little thin on, especially as we move into some new areas like artificial intelligence, machine learning, even some of the applications of that to quantum and crypto and those types. Those are probably some growth areas that we still need to address and get to. And then I'll tell you the last thing, though, we're probably really fortunate because we're located in Huntsville, Alabama, we're located in Colorado Springs, we're located in the Northern Virginia area. Fantastic incubators for technical talent.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you again for your service and commitment. And we're learning a lot, and we're going to have to be nimble and agile to meet the emerging threats. So thank you so much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Senator Rosen. We're happy that you were able to join us today on a Monday. I know it's hard for you. General Collins, last question I have for you. Can you give us an update on the Next Generation Interceptor program?
Yes, Senator. Thank you for that question. Next Gen Interceptor, we've been talking about it for a number of years. It is the future of the Homeland Defense, the ground-based mid-course defense, Homeland Defense against peer and rogue intercontinental ballistic missiles. That program is still executing. That is still our largest and highest priority program when it comes to that defense of the homeland against the peer threat. That program continues. A couple years ago, we did a down select, an earlier down select than planned due to priorities. And since then, we did replan about 18 months ago. We replanned the delivery of the program based on some issues and concerns with the solid rocket motor. We are continuing to drive that program forward. The end of this year, we are on track for the all-up-round, full system critical design review to close the design phase of the Next Gen Interceptor program and completely move into the manufacturing and test phase of that as we drive towards first flight test in 2029. We have no open major liens against the design of the system, which is a plus at this point in the time of a program. We are, as we transition into manufacturing, identifying and finding some issues with some of these new systems, the solid rocket motor, the inertial measurement unit, as well as some in the sensors. And we are working to buy down those risks and move forward as quickly as possible to make sure we We pull the date as far to the left as possible. General Gio, General Guline, and I are regularly talking about Next Gen Interceptor and the important part it plays in the layered defense of our homeland as we move forward.
Okay, thank you. And General Lozano, good afternoon.
Afternoon, ma'am.
Chairman Wicker and I had the opportunity to visit the Pacific last August and spend some time on Guam in trying to assess the situation there. Can you give us an update on the implementation of the defenses of Guam?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your question. So the program is executing on schedule and on budget. I'm very proud of all the work that has occurred thus far to deploy early capabilities onto Guam. As a part of the Army's Transformation in Contact Initiative and also working closely with the Air Force and the Missile Defense Agency, as I stated earlier, not only do we have a THAAD battery out there, but we also have elements of the Air Force's air base air defense capabilities on Anderson Air Force Base. We also have a couple of lower tier air missile defense sensors, an ALP sensor, and a couple of integrated air and missile defense battle command systems, IBCS, engagement operations centers. So we've started infiltrating capability out onto the island early so that we could start working through some of the integration challenges that we forecasted we might face when we started planning what the defense of Guam might look like. This has also provided an opportunity for the 94th Air and Missile Defense Command to start sending soldiers down to Guam to start training on these systems so that they could start developing CONOPS and tactics, techniques, and procedures, what we call TTPs, on how to operate and employ this system. Right now, we will conduct our integrated flight test campaign 26 this year at White Sands Missile Range. That'll act as a graduation opportunity, a test missile flight test campaign for us, and then we'll start flowing the bulk of the systems out to Guam in the 27-28 timeframe. So everything remains on schedule, everything remains on track, the development of the capability, the production of the systems, and so we're looking forward to continuing to mature and evolve that capability so that it maintains its relevancy against the threats we intend to face, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Senator King.
One final question, going back to the beginning of my comments. Secretary Berkowitz, what is the justification for this bifurcated budget process that we've experienced last year and this year for the first time in my experience? Why do we need to do it this way, which is a radical departure from how defense budgets have been built over the years? What's the justification?
Senator, I'd have to give you the same answer I gave before with respect to the request specifically for Golden Dome, which is within my portfolio. The broader budget construction is well outside of my area of responsibility.
Columbia-class submarines is a one-time
well,
improvement, or
for this year,
B-21s, they didn't. I don't understand why Golden Dome is any different than B-21 or any other defense initiative that requires a special budgetary treatment that basically takes it largely out of the purview of Congress and congressional oversight.
Sir, the answer is the flexibility to address the dynamics of advancing technology and to accelerate the President's priority.
Well, that's not a very satisfactory answer, I must say. All of the things you said could apply to any other major weapons program that we've had in this country, and I just don't understand why all of a sudden 25% of the defense budget is off limits for the normal appropriations process. But that's something I'll take up with, I think there's a hearing tomorrow with Secretary Hegseth, Thursday. So warn him. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator King. I'd like to thank the panel for being here today and giving us some really good information. Appreciate your service again. If we have questions for the record, those need to be submitted, and I hope you will answer them in a timely manner. With that, the subcommittee hearing is adjourned.